What is up, guys? It is Will Sports, and what a finish in Milwaukee as the Bucks defeat the Sixers on opening night for both these teams. Obviously, this was Dame's debut with the Bucks, and it was a highly anticipated game, and he performed. He lived up to the hype. This game was, for the most part, out of whack early. It looked like Milwaukee was gonna blow the Sixers out early in the game. They had complete control. They were playing solid defense on Embiid, really containing him and limiting him and what he could do. The Bucks just looked like it was a good fit between Dame, Giannis, and the rest of this team. But the Bucks in that third quarter just really started to let the Sixers get going offensively, and then also the Bucks slowed down offensively. There was a lot of plays and possessions where Dame wasn't touching the ball, Giannis wasn't touching the ball, or they were trying to draw fouls and they weren't getting calls. So it just wasn't a perfect performance. But as the game went on, the Bucks realized, hey, we're just gonna give it to Dame and Giannis, run that high pick and roll, get out in transition, which Giannis did. Dame, started getting himself in a rhythm, and at the end of the game, Dame just really lit it up. He had 14 fourth quarter points, and he finished the game with 39 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and he was 17 to 17 from the free throw line. I mean, this is exactly what the Bucks brought him in for, because they needed somebody who, in these type of games, you need somebody who in the half court can beat a defense by themselves, can break down the defense, can hit, tough shots against the defense, against tough defenses. And Dame is able to provide that as well as anybody else in the league. And the Bucks have lost games like this in the past because Chris Middleton was their closer. Giannis is not a guy that you trust to close games. Giannis is a great player. He does everything, but he's not, a pure hooper who can break down the defense and go get a bucket late in games, at least not at an efficient level. And defenses, it's easier to stop him by just building a wall than having a guy like Dame who can, either attack you off the dribble. He's got this step back game. He's got crazy range. He's can play make. He can see the floor well. He's composed. He's got a handle. He's got all these different things that just favor him. And when the game slows down, you need guys like that who could just get a bucket. And Dame is that. And it's exactly what the Bucks needed. And he just made a great first impression. And like I said, I felt like the Bucks made this game harder than it needed to be. There was just too many possessions where you got guys like Pat Connaughton and Cam Payne and Jay Crowder, Brook Lopez trying to initiate offense, Bobby Portis trying to initiate offense, trying to get buckets. And I'm just like, y'all are making, like, when the game is getting tight, get the ball to your stars. Like, why are we doing all this other stuff? The offense just looked very clustered and looked, I get it's the first game with Dame, but when you have a seamless fit like Dame is with Giannis and his team, I don't feel like that's a hard player to ingratiate into your offense. Dame, you needed a guard who can handle the ball. He should just take Drew Holiday's spot as that main ball handler. And late in games, you get him the ball. If it gets tight, you get him the ball and you let him, create for himself or his teammates. But there was just a lot of actions where there were guys shooting contested shots that shouldn't have been taking those shots. There were periods of time where this team wasn't scoring because of that, and it was allowing the Sixers to get out in transition, get out and go, and get in a rhythm and eventually get back in the game. But like I said, Dame closes the game, and I guess it getting into that situation might have been a good thing in hindsight, because it allowed the Bucks to see Dame do what he does best, which is close the game. And it just felt like perfect, because this is exactly what he got traded to the Bucks for. And I was happy to see it. And it was very entertaining. Giannis didn't have his best game. He had 23 points, 13 rebounds, but he was only 10 for 22 from the field. And he had 7 turnovers. And he was a minus 13. So not his best game today. But Giannis will obviously be better. But I think the game plan needs to be, we got to get the ball to Dame late in these games. And Giannis, one thing I noticed late in this game, he was making sure to get that ball to Damian Lillard, because he trusts and he knows that's Dame's time, Dame time, So he made it happen. He didn't have his best game, but I know Giannis will bounce back. And Giannis is very selfless. He said in an interview with Chris Haynes, he said, this is Dame's team, And, you know, we can argue back and forth on that. You know, I would still probably say for right now, it's Giannis's team because, you know, he's been the franchise player. He's the one that brought a championship. But if Dame keeps doing this, I mean, you might have a situation where you could say that, you know, because Dame is going to be the one closing these games. And I think, you know, Dame is a guy that we all want to see win because, you know, he's a special talent, but he's been in bad situations his whole career. And now he's finally on a team where he has a legitimate shot to win. And so it's like this was like a glimpse of like what this season could be for the Bucks. As far as this team, though, I'd still worry about this team's perimeter defense. I don't like this team's perimeter defense that much. There's not many guys on this team that can really guard on the perimeter at an elite level. They'll be fine. They won't be like a terrible defensive team on the perimeter, but I still feel like that's something that could be a weakness. You know, I saw Dan get blown by a few times. There was a lot of times where guys got blown by, and so you had to help, and you left the shooter open, or you fouled because you smacked somebody trying to, you know, contest a drive. And I think those type of things need to get cleaned up so this team doesn't have to get in these late game situations as often. But I just think, you know, the Bucks will get better and better as the season progresses. Them and the Celtics are head and shoulders above the rest of the East if they're both healthy. So you got a team that has hella size, a lot of shooting, and, you know, now that you have a player in Dame who can close the games, Milwaukee is going to be a tough out for anybody. And it's just up to them, you know, not making it harder on themselves. Like I said today, like, don't make the game harder. Just you have two elite players. You have Dame and Giannis, who are both top 10 players in this league. That pick and roll between those two is deadly. I don't think they ran enough of it today. I think that needs to be something you spam. You utilize that every play, because every single play you're going to get something good out of that. If they try to load up on both Giannis and Dame, you're going to leave other guys open and get other guys clean looks. Chris Middleton didn't play a lot today. He only had 6 points and he only played 16 minutes. I think as the season progresses, he'll be more involved in his offense too as a third option. But you know, Middleton as a third option is a really good player. I think that's where he needs to be slotted. And I think as the season progresses, you're going to see him get more comfortable playing alongside Dame and Giannis in this new system that they're running. But people tried to say Drew Holiday, the loss of him and not having him defensively was going to kill this team. I think that you could say it's going to hurt them defensively, obviously. And it was okay to worry about that. But to sit here and act like they didn't get better was just foolish. They got better for sure. I mean, Damian Lillard it's a player you just cannot go get just anytime, anywhere. Like, this is, you know, a rare occurrence to get a guy like him. So if you're the Bucks, you had to make it happen. And it kept Giannis there long term. So it was a great move. And tonight was just an example of that. It showed, and good for the Bucks, man. This is a team I can't wait to continue to watch the rest of the year. But yeah, Dame time was on one tonight. 39 points for him, and the Bucks take a victory over the Sixers. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll be dropping more NBA videos as the season progresses, and NFL content. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of that recently. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. And yeah, it's been Will Sports. Peace.